do me a favor. Like the channel, maybe subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. And leave me a comment. You know, I actually get a lot of ideas from people kind of asking me questions, including the one that this video is all about. So I got a friend of mine, a conservative good old buddy, and he asked me a very good question. He said California has been one of the most restrictive, has had one of the most restrictive lockdowns in the country. I mean, their COVID guidelines are far and beyond what a lot of other people are doing. And still, they're in the middle of one of the most massive and devastating outbreak of COVID cases in the country. And, you know, the deaths are just piling up, and hospitals in some part of the state are completely overrun. And so he asked me a question. Were the lockdowns actually worth it? Right? Well, you know, is this all worth doing all this stuff, right? Now I was raised to say there's no such thing as a dumb question, but this one was kind of pushing it. But again, this is my friend, so I looked into it. Now, first off, you can't really call what we did in the United States a lockdown. Yes, at one point there were more than 300 million Americans were under some kind of lockdown order or shutdown order, but these orders were vastly different in different states. So California's lockdown might be strictly enforced, but if Florida or Texas lockdowns aren't, it really doesn't matter. You know, you can see the only person that can actually close the borders and stop people from going to California and make sure that their lockdown is effective is President Trump. You know, states can't actually restrict interstate commerce. Only the federal government can do that. And Trump has been way too busy promoting conspiracy theories and trying to pull off a coup to notice that the nation is even in the middle of a pandemic. Also, political leaders in California haven't exactly made the situation much easier.
Fox 11 exclusive. We've obtained this photo of Governor Gavin Newsom dining at the luxurious French Laundry restaurant in Napa the evening of November 6th.
Yeah, it's a little hard to listen to the governor and his lockdown orders when he tells everyone to stay home, then runs out to catch dinner at some fancy French restaurant indoors, right? I mean, he was kind of indoors, outdoors. But yeah, if there's a chandelier over your head, you're indoors. Another thing that also hurts California in their fight against the coronavirus is that California is pretty damn expensive. Now, here is a map that shows what the most and least affordable states live in. And as you can see, California is one of the most expensive states in the country. And it doesn't just stop there, right? I'll scroll down on this a little bit for you. Blow this up on here. Here you go. Now, this map shows the type of salary you need based on a 10% down payment, as if anyone can do that nowadays, but whatever. That shows what the salary you would need to afford the average home. And in California, that salary is $128,000. It's a lot of money, right? Hopefully if you guys subscribe to Citizen Pete, maybe I could eventually get there one day, but it might be a little while for me. So it's a little harder to lock down when folks, the cost of living is so high and you're not working. It's a little harder to stay at home and not work, right? Because again, the cost of living is hard, so it's hard for Californians to stick with these so-called lockdowns. And the reason I just said so-called lockdowns is because not all lockdowns are created equal. When all this started, here's what the lockdowns looked like in New Zealand.
The roads largely empty in Auckland, in Wellington and Christchurch, eerie sights and silence. At sports grounds, big stores and bigger malls, transport hubs, parks, and around our most well-known spots.
And here is what the lockdowns looked like in the United States.
A flashpoint in this debate over how and when to reopen the country, from Chicago to Indianapolis to California.
They'll take our freedom!
In Huntington Beach, hundreds of protesters swarming the coast. Officers managing crowds on horseback just 24 hours after California's governor ordered the closure of all beaches in Orange County.
Can't take our freedom. Anyway, the number, looks a little different, right? Looks a little New Zealand and all the states around the country looks slightly different there, and the numbers look different too. So in New Zealand, on January 5th, which was yesterday, New Zealand had a total of 0 new cases of the coronavirus. 0. Okay, and just to be fair, on the 2nd of January, they did have a massive spike of 19 cases. Now, here in the United States, the numbers are a little different. So, yesterday on the 4th, we had 198,000 cases of COVID-19. But hey, that's a little bit better on the first when we only had 147 new cases. But that could be due to just people not reporting after their hangover. So, back to the original question. Were lockdowns worth it? Well, if you're actually going to do them, they're totally worth it. It's like running to lose weight. It's effective. It works for everyone. But if you're only going to run once a month, it isn't really going to work. So hopefully, with masks and vaccines, we'll be celebrating the new year very differently when we ring in 2022. But the way things are going, I would not hold my breath on that one. So, as I finish with all these segments with the coronavirus, just wear the damn mask, right? I want to get out of this as much as anybody. But that's not going to happen if people don't start taking the coronavirus seriously.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click that little subscribe button, maybe the like button, and hey, maybe just leave a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. What do you think about all the politics, the news, and all the stuff that's going on in our country?